Okay, Jenny, we are live.
Great, thank you, Chase. Welcome, everybody. We'll call our meeting to order for December the 17th for ART. We have a couple things on our agenda today. The first is meeting minutes from October the 29th. I know Lori sent those out ahead of time. And does anybody have any additional changes for that? If not, can I have a motion from someone to accept the minutes into the record?
So moved.
Thank you, Colleen. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, then we'll call the roll for that. Lori, are you prepared for that, or do you want me to do that? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the roll for that. So Aaron?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Brad Frogrell?
Yes.
Brad Flora?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Great, so our minutes stand approved. Thank you, everybody. The other item on our agenda before we get to our cases is acceptance of meeting dates for the next year for 2021. We had discussed previously just making our calendar for one meeting a month to sort of consolidate our materials and be respectful of everybody's time, given that our caseload significantly decreased. So I know those were provided to the group as well. And unless anybody has any changes to that, I will accept a motion for the acceptance of those dates if somebody is willing to make that motion.
Before we do, I have one question.
Sure.
If in a particular month or quarter, applications would come in at a faster pace, we would still potentially try to add a meeting here and there if necessary, right? Just to kind of keep development on schedule if we needed to.
Absolutely. I think that was our intent. Maybe Chase wants to speak to that.
Yeah, we could definitely add if the workload warrants that, certainly.
Great question. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and the opposite. If we didn't have anything, then we would cancel them like we do for our other meetings too. So.
Well, then yeah. If there's no other questions, I'll move to accept the dates.
Okay. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Brad. So Aaron?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Brad Flora?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
And Brad Frogrell.
Yes.
Great, thank you all very much. We had a number of minor modifications just for everyone's awareness. So those are approvals that meet the criteria to be approved by at a staff level. So we just included those for your awareness. So pretty minor changes for some of our developments within the ART's jurisdiction. So those are included just for your reference. And then we have one case today that's an introduction and determination for Medizen. And I believe Zach is our presenter for that application. So with that, Zach, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Let's get this switched. All right. Can everyone see this? Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon. This is an application for review and approval of a minor project review. This site is located within Block D of the Bridge Park development, specifically Building D1. And just to give you a closer look at the area of work today, it is highlighted in red. What the tenant space is for this is located at 6753 Longshore Drive. This is located within Building D1 of the Soda River Neighborhood Zoning District. The scope of the improvements for this application, the scope of improvements are on the east elevation along Longshore Drive. There are 3 modifications being proposed. The first of which would be a new aluminum canopy over the entirety of the storefront on the east elevation. It would sit 12 feet, 6 inches above grade. It's about 8 inches in depth, and it does protrude approximately 4 feet, 1 inch from the facade of the building with a bronze finish. The Second improvement that is being proposed with this application is a decorative privacy screening, which can be viewed in the center of the elevation. It is going to be made of approximately it will be made of 9 panels. Each would be 32 square feet in size, which would create a total of 288 square feet of screening. This is meant more for decorative purposes, although it does provide some minimal screening. It is just to add more to the branding of this tenant space. It'll be mounted approximately 4 inches off the facade of the building. This does eliminate any concern staff had of any transparency calculations being altered, as well as material changes, as this improvement will not affect the storefront system behind the screening or any of the building materials that are currently existing. And it will also have a bronze finish. Each of these panels can be removed to maintain the facade or the storefront systems that are behind. So this does allow for general maintenance of the building's upkeep, as well as providing this screening. The third improvement is going to be to the furthest left store opening, which is the southernmost storefront opening here, which is a new service window. The applicant is proposing nanowall glass doors with a quartz countertop and bronze metal infill panels below that countertop to serve patrons, pedestrian patrons of I believe they have a small cafe style store. So this is just a way for them to expand their marketing and their business operations to those on the sidewalk. The bronze infill panels do impact the transparency calculations for the east elevation, but only by about 5 square feet. These changes are minimal and does keep the transparency calculations, which are calculated between 2 feet and 8 feet above grade. It does keep it above the 53% transparency that was approved with building D1. The applicant also provided some renderings of what these improvements will look like on this facade. It should be noted that signs are provided on these renderings. However, signs are not up for discussion or review or approval today, as they will be required to meet the master sign plan, or the applicant would be required to pursue the proper procedures to amend the master sign plan for their signage. Staff has reviewed this to all applicable criteria and are recommending approval with the one condition regarding signage. If any of the board members have questions for staff, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, the applicant is here to address any questions or concerns you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Does the applicant have anything that they want to add to Zach's presentation?
No, I think that sums it up. We're trying to keep the changes to the facade fairly minimal. This is going to be for a sort of body positive spa and, light cosmetic surgery, Botox, that sort of thing. They have an attached juice bar with keto. It's called the Keto Cafe, which is going to serve juice drinks, etc. And she just wanted to have a sense of mystery and privacy with the entrance. It was so much glass. She didn't think it was really appropriate for a spa, and wanted to just kind of have it seem more like it was hidden behind branches, at the entrance. And that was really the impetus behind the whole design.
Great, thank you. That's helpful. I like that idea, and I like how it brings a little bit unique design to the building. And we really are encouraging people to make their storefronts be unique and not all look the same. So that's and that you're also meeting code and the transparency as well. So we get a little bit of balancing of both parts. So I will go through board members just so you all can, if you have any questions or comments, give you a chance to talk that through before we take a vote. I'll start with Colleen since she's first on my screen here.
No additional questions. I do appreciate the creativity, though. It's a very unique storefront, and it will be a nice breaking up of the streetscape there. So I appreciate the work that went into that.
Thank you. Brad, oh, sorry, Kevin, do you have something to add?
No, I was just saying thanks.
Okay. Brad Figrell, do you have any comments?
Yeah, what are the screening panels made of?
They're aluminum and it has a bronze hammer tone finish.
Okay. And then it looks like that kind of encroaches on the entrance to the building somewhat, reducing the size. Does it overlap some?
Yeah, it overlaps the opening that we've provided, approximately 14 to 16 inches. We still have 48 inches clear for and an 88 turnaround within the space to make sure that we comply with life safety and with ADA requirements. And yeah, it's mounted to the building and not to the ground. And the panels, it comes as a pre-manufactured unit. It'll be made off-site and then brought on. The manufacturer who's making them will be installing them so that each of the three large panels, which each one is made of three vertically, are on piano hinges so that they can be opened and keep the glass clean behind it and do maintenance, etc.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Talking to myself. Aaron, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I wasn't ignoring you. No, I like the screen. I think it's a good element. I think it's going to add a lot of interest there. Zach, is there an exhibit that shows, is there anything that encroaches into the right of way for what's being proposed?
The canopy extends, I think it's 4 feet and 1 inch out away from the building. I think this stays within what's required by Crawford Hoying. I believe the requirement is 6 feet. In the past, we've had that with canopies. But other than that, there's no other improvements that would be encroaching.
Okay, so the 4 feet, it's not 4 feet encroaching into the right of way, it's just from the face of the building.
No, it would be 4 feet from the building. It varies because that elevation, and I can see if I can show. If you give me one moment, I'll pull this up. It carries 4 feet 1 inch across that elevation, but it does change in depth just as it changes with the building, and I can show
Sure.
this.
No, that makes sense.
So if you can see this enlarged elevation, you can see that it does, as the depth of the building changes, you'll see the hashed line here would be that canopy. So in some areas it's a little longer than 4 feet 1 inch, but it's consistent at the end of the canopy.
Okay. And that's all the questions I had, guys.
Okay, and that doesn't cause any issues for you or any approvals that you need, Aaron, on your end?
No, because we have provisions that allow for encroachment for that type of material. I just was wondering the extent, and I'll look at the plan real quick, but I don't think there's any issue with that level of encroachment.
Okay. Bill, we'll go with you next.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. And then Brad Flora, do you have any questions or comments about this?
Nope, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, unless anybody has anything else, Aaron, if you're comfortable with what you got, you need another minute? Okay, thumbs up. All right. Zach or Nikki, I haven't seen any public comment come forward for this. Have you received any?
There's no public comment on this application.
Okay, great. Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion of approval with the one condition, if somebody's willing to make that motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Colleen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, then I'll call the roll. So Aaron Stanford,
Yes.
Brad Figrell,
Yes.
Brad Flora,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
And Colleen.
Yes.
Great. All right, Kevin, you're approved, and we appreciate you coming before the board and preparing materials and talking with us today, and look forward to seeing this implemented here in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
You too.
Thanks. Okay, unless anybody has anything else, Chase, do you have any communications or anything to share with the group?
No, nothing to share. Really, I think you touched on it a bit earlier. Obviously, we are going down to one meeting per month, but as we talked about earlier too, that can always be changed if the workload warrants it. So, yeah, nothing really else to add.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you all for being here and for all your work this year. Appreciate working with all of you on this group. So with that, we will be adjourned, and we'll give Chase a second here to get everything turned off. But thank you all so much.
All right, live stream is